Welcome to this Pipplet English practice test video with sample questions and answers to help you ace your exam. Are you looking for a mock Pipplet language practice test sample or demo? This video has a full-length Pipplet practice test in the English language. The Pipplet exam includes 7 questions. The first 3 questions test your speaking skills. The fourth question assesses your listening and speaking skills. And the last 3 questions evaluate your writing skills in English. Here are some tips to help you know how to structure your exam responses. Take time to plan your response. You aren't expected to begin speaking or writing right away. For image description questions, avoid starting your response with "I can see." Examiners hear this all too often, and unfortunately, it usually indicates a lower-level response is to follow. Examiners are looking at your command of the English language, so try to use different varieties of verb tenses. Describe what's happening in the photo or situation at present, as well as what might have happened in the past and what you think will happen in the future. It's also good to try to include one sentence that starts with the word if, since conditional sentences like these require advanced English knowledge. Describe the image or situation using powerful adjectives and high-level vocabulary. See the sample responses after each question for examples of varied verb tense use, conditional sentences, and higher-level vocabulary. To emulate the style of responses in this video, you may wish to take notes as you listen. Question 1. Read out loud. Instructions. Read the text out loud in a clear, natural way. You have 3 minutes to speak. You may not be able to read the entire text within the time limit, so read as much of it as you can. The text on the next 2 screens will be shown for 90 seconds each. For this practice test, you can hear a sample of someone reading the text after you have finished. Business English is the expression of our commercial life in the English language. First, there is oral expression, which is important because so many of our business transactions are conducted personally. Thousands of salespeople daily move from place to place over the entire country, earning their salaries by talking convincingly about the merchandise or services that they have to sell. A still greater number of clerks, managers, and business owners orally transact business in our shops, stores, offices, and banks. Complaints are adjusted, difficulties are disentangled, and new members of staff are selected in personal interviews. The matter under discussion often being thought too important to be entrusted to correspondence. In every business, oral English is essential. Second, there is written expression. This takes account of the writing of advertisements, circulars, booklets, and prospectuses, as well as of letters and emails. And in the preparation of these, oral English is fundamental. It precedes and practically includes the written expression. For example, we say colloquially that a good advertisement talks. We mean that the writer has so fully realized the buyer's point of view that the words seem to speak directly to the readers, arousing their interest, or perhaps answering their objections. Accordingly, we should not minimize the importance of written business English. In a way, it is more difficult to write well than it is to talk well. In talking, we are not troubled with the problems of correct spelling, proper punctuation, and good paragraphing. We may even repeat ourselves somewhat, as long as we are persuasive. But in writing, we are confronted with the necessity of putting the best thoughts into the clearest, most concise language, and at the same time, obeying all the rules of spelling, punctuation, and grammar. The business person must be sure of all of these details in order to make the best impression. Business English is much the same as any other English. It consists of expression by means of words, sentences, and paragraphs. Moreover, they are much the same kind of words, sentences, and paragraphs that appear in any book that is written in what is commonly called standard English. In business communications, however, the words are largely those of everyday use, and only a few might be technical. It is the manner in which the words are put together, the idea backing the sentence, that really makes the difference. An excellent way to improve your business English is to increase your vocabulary by reading and listening to the right material. For example, the careful study of the words used in public speeches is good practice. The conditions that called forth these speeches were important, and the speeches interesting and well thought out. When people have an interesting or important message to give, they usually give it in clear language. Therefore, the vocabulary that is used in these situations is worth emulating. Question 2. Describe the image. Instructions. Describe the image on the next screen within the 3-minute time limit. We recommend preparing your response before you begin speaking. The image on the next page will be shown for the time limit. For this practice test, you can hear a sample of someone describing the image after you have spoken. The people depicted in this image are attending a business meeting. The meeting is taking place at a large table in a boardroom, which is flanked by banks of windows on either side. One bank of windows is clear and is facing the outside, while the other bank of windows is frosted and is functioning as a room divider. There are 12 members of staff seated at the table, and it appears that the women outnumber the men. I would assume that the staff members are higher than entry level, since the meeting appears to be quite important. Most of the people in the room are dark-haired, although there is one blonde woman in attendance. All of the attendees are in business attire, with most of them in suits, but with 2 women wearing shades of pink and purple. The presenter is at the whiteboard, ostensibly preparing to provide some facts and figures related to her presentation. While there is no information on the whiteboard yet, perhaps the presenter will make use of the digital projector, which is located in the cabled-in unit, hanging down from the ceiling. Certainly, the presenter will be well prepared for this meeting and will have statistics and graphics available to support the points that she is going to make. If I were giving an important presentation, this is what I would make my best endeavors to do. Equally, members of staff also seem to have come well prepared, as everyone has brought a laptop or device to take notes. Facing forward with their eyes focused on the board, they are giving the presenter their undivided attention. Perhaps the presenter is announcing some important changes to the business, such as how jobs will be affected by a merger with another company, or changes to how staff performance reviews are to be conducted. In any event, the image seems to portend some big company changes that will happen in the future. Question 3. Narration. Instructions. Tell a story based on the picture on the next screen. For this Pipplet practice test demo, you should describe the event, the cause and effect, or problem and solution, the emotions of the people involved, or any actions to be taken by those pictured in the image. We recommend preparing your response before you begin speaking. The image on the next page will be shown for the time limit. For this practice test, you can hear a sample response after you have spoken. The couple are having trouble with their van, perhaps just a flat tire or maybe some sort of mechanical issue. The woman is in a very animated pose towards the man, as if an argument is taking place. The man's gesture is more like a shrug. Perhaps he doesn't know what to do, or he simply feels helpless. They are in a camper van, so they might have run over some debris in the road which punctured the tire, or perhaps they have had a breakdown since the vehicle is an older, vintage model. The rear hatch of the vehicle is open, so they already must have been in the back of the van to find any tools that they need to change the tire. I would assume that they will try to change the tire first, and then call for further roadside assistance if needed. The couple would have packed up many of their belongings for this trip, as there are probably cooking facilities and a seating area in the main cabin of the van, and a sleeping area in the upper part. The van looks very homey and comfortable. It has a blue and white chassis and is decorated nicely with flowers and curtains on the interior. The van may be overloaded, and the excessive weight could have contributed to the breakdown. The man and the woman are both wearing casual clothes. The man is in jeans and a gray t-shirt and is wearing a hat and boots. The woman is also wearing boots and is in denim shorts and a long-sleeved shirt, which indicates that the weather is mixed, with part of the day being warm and the other part of the day cooler. After the repairs to the vehicle are made, the couple may resolve their differences and continue on their journey, perhaps finding a campsite for the night. On the other hand, if there are any lingering bad feelings, the couple may simply decide to return home after the repairs are made. If they need further help and no one comes to assist them, they may be stranded at the roadside for a while. Question 4. Listen and respond. Instructions. For this Pipplet test sample question, you will hear about a business situation, and then you need to propose 2 ideas in response to it. You are allowed 3 minutes to speak in response to this question. You will hear the recording on the next screen. For this practice test, you can hear a sample response to the question after you have spoken. Our business is facing budget constraints this year. Operating costs like heating and electricity have increased and we need to reduce costs. Please provide 2 ideas on how our business can save money. Now listen to the sample response. Our business is facing budget constraints this year. Operating costs like heating and electricity have increased, and we need to reduce costs. Please provide 2 ideas on how our business can save money. Energy costs were mentioned as one of the largest operating expenses, so perhaps someone in the accounting department could look to see if our utilities could be provided by different suppliers. I have seen many commercials on TV telling people that they can save money if they switch the utilities providers for their homes, and I would assume that there are similar incentives for businesses. Also, I think staff could be more mindful about how energy is being used in the store, and perhaps this should be mentioned at our next staff meeting. For example, the lights are often left on in the back room, even when no one is in there. So saving on the utilities cost would be my first recommendation. I really don't want to put the cat among the pigeons, but I also think that wage costs and employee performance need to be examined. I think that some employees may actually welcome having reduced work schedules. We have several employees who are new parents, for example, and they need to pick up their children when school finishes at 3:30. So perhaps staff could be approached with the proposal of working a reduced workday for reduced pay. For instance, if employees were to work a 30-hour week instead of a 40-hour week, their pay could be reduced by 25%, which would save our business a substantial amount of money. Also, I think that productivity is sometimes very low, especially among junior staff members. Again, I think staff may benefit from a gentle reminder that they should not be on their phones or surfing the internet during business hours. In addition, a reminder that lunch breaks are limited to 30 minutes may also be beneficial. Question 5. Describe the image. Instructions. Open a word processing program in another window on your computer or device. You have 3 minutes to write a description of the image on the next screen. The image on the next page will be shown for the 3-minute time limit. For this practice test, you will see a sample response after you have finished. A rock or pop music band is giving a concert to a very enthusiastic audience. The stage at the front is well lit with at least 10 different floodlights, and on the stage is the band, which consists of 2 guitarists, a drummer, and a singer. The band's crew would have set up their equipment beforehand, as there are several microphones, as well as the amplifiers. So presumably, there is a good deal of cabling running around the stage. The band is dressed in casual attire, and it appears that most of them are in jeans. It's impossible to make out which band is performing, but if it were to be one of the most popular bands, then the fans attending might have needed to purchase their tickets up to a year in advance of the event. Also, tickets like this are often very expensive, meaning that going to a concert like this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience for many people. If that were the case, then I would assume that most people at this concert have been looking forward to it for a very long time. There are both men and women in the audience, and while it's a bit hard to say, it doesn't look like there are any children. The crowd is really enjoying the music, and several people have got their arms raised above their heads as if they are dancing. Unusually, no one is recording the event on their phones in this photo. I have heard that phones are prohibited at some concerts because of the nuisance of people taking videos, so perhaps the band has some sort of similar policy. Most of the crowd appears to be people under the age of 35, and all of them are on their feet. After standing for a couple of hours at an event like this, they might be hungry for a meal afterwards, so restaurants in this area could be very busy this evening. After the concert finishes, another potential problem could be getting out of the parking area. Most people drive to events like this, so traffic control is sometimes an issue. Question 6. Respond to correspondence. Instructions. Open the word processing program in another window on your computer. Read the correspondence and write a response. You are allowed 6 minutes to complete this task. The text on the next page will be shown for the time limit. For this practice test, you will see a sample response after you have finished. Now read the sample response. Question 7. Respond to questions. Instructions. Read the question on the next screen and write a response. You are allowed 10 minutes to complete this task. Open the word processing program window on your computer or device to write your response. The text on the next page will be shown for the time limit. For this practice test, you will see a sample response after you have finished. Now meet the sample response, which is shown on the next two screens. Thanks so much for joining us. Please remember to like, subscribe, and click on the notification bell for more great videos.